Welcome to Africa Business Radio. It's still the horror series in the spirit of the International Women's Day, guys. Yes. Racheal and Winston still here in the studio. Winston, we tell these guys every time that, you know what, this week is going to be about the International Women's Day because there are a lot of things we choose to challenge. A lot of things you think about, look around you, your home, your street, your country. You know, what are you tired of? You know, especially those things that are pinching women, pinching them real hard.
And then just to close out this, when we're done, I have a very interesting thread just to, you know, buttress this thing you just said.
Can't wait. And yes, the Her series, of course, comes with very interesting guests joining us on the show. And today is no exemption. Of course, I've got right here in the studio Omotunde Ibironke. She's a brand strategist and business development associate at Bella Ninja. Hello, Ibironke. Good to have you on the show.
Hi.
Hope it wasn't so hard getting your way here and finding us.
I mean, they're repairing every road in Ikoyi, so
right. Thank you for going through all that stress and being here with us. I promise it's going to be worth it. Well, it's all about the International Women's Day, and of course, this year is like no other because we see a lot of countries coming out of the pandemic and trying to recover from all that went down last year. And there's a chance, you know, that we could finally end the exclusion and the marginalization of women and girls, and of course get to finally shape the society in a way that is going to be in favor of women, or at least, you know, somehow earn some sort of equality. I'm sure that's not too much to ask in any society. I mean, you're a business development associate and a brand strategist. How do you feel about today as International Women's Day, and what is it like doing business in Africa as a woman?
How do I feel? Honestly, I feel it's exciting to know that there's a day, you know, set aside to celebrate the woman as an individual and women in general. It's exciting to know that the effort, the work, you know, that we're in a time when we have a history of, you know, focus was on men, and then women were, you know, stay on the farm. Looking at things from the archaic angle of it, so, you know, we in this modern time having that moment to appreciate women, like, okay, so you can go to school now, you can become what you want to be, contrary to the archaic belief of you have to be at home and take care of the kids, go to the farm. It's worth celebrating, and it's really exciting to be a part of a time like this.
Yes, and you know what? Just earlier today, I asked someone if we finally get to that point where there is equality in business, in the economy, in politics, you know, and I asked, would there be a need to still go ahead with this movement for, you know, women and have International Women's Day? And then the thoughts came and we said, okay, you know what? Women still need to be celebrated, you know, because we achieve a whole lot of things, and sometimes it's not really put out in the limelight. So yes, this day is indeed very, very important. Important. How would you want Nigerian women, you know, girls, to feel about the pursuit of gender empowerment in inclusivity in modern day Nigeria of 2021, after all we've gone through?
Honestly, I would say that you know when they say that words don't just cut it. Fine, we're celebrating, you know, International Women's Day. It would just be blank if all that we have are just, you know, celebratory moments, and we don't have women actually taking that step. You know, so I would say that it would matter more if, while we're celebrating and we're talking about women having, you know, an equal chance at certain things, you know, we have women who are actually working towards it. So you have an opportunity to show yourself and show what you can do in your workspace, going for it, you know, at the market space, going for it, and not just keeping quiet and hiding behind the curtain. So more action, more words, of course, I think is going to count in that light. So
True, I totally agree with you. All right, now, of course, as you mentioned, you know, women need to come out there and show themselves. But you cannot show yourself when you're not qualified, when you know that, you know, I can't really do this stuff. So you need grooming. Women need grooming. They need to be skilled. They need to, you know, be competent enough for that position that they are vying, for that business that they are running. And we've seen some startling statistics, especially in business, that reveal that there are no female CEOs in the 10 most capitalized companies on the NSE. We do know that there are now, executive directors who are women, there are chairpersons who are women, no female governors, no VPs in the cultural level. How do we enhance this struggle for female emancipation from the values of the past? Because it's almost like it's a normal thing. Nobody wants to question it anymore. Like, if you see, maybe there's an election coming up tomorrow and you have 5 men and you have 1 woman vying, the idea of, okay, will this person be able to make good decisions for the country? So that question always comes up. So how do we enhance the struggle?
So I'm going to use the normal workspace as an example. First of all, so you're in a normal, typical office setting, and there, who wants to do this? And I will still go back to the point where I say you have to prove yourself. And I'm going to use Okonjo Iweala as a very big example.
Great example.
She's taking a step that nobody really. Like, she's the first person to take that position, and she's a woman. So I would say that she has proven herself in so many ways for people to undoubtedly say that, she cannot do it. It was a case of, oh, yeah, she can do it because she has proven herself.
Right.
So I would rather say that many a times, in as much as we are trying to fight this cause, there are a lot of women who are, living in that space of self-doubt. So you're living in the impression that people already have, women can't. And you're like, since they said we can't, maybe we can't, Yeah, so the self-doubt, that major factor has swallowed people up in one way or the other. So maybe you want to break that barrier of self-doubt and try. If you try 1, 2, 3, 10 times, people are looking, they're watching. The day it comes for you to take up that position as CEO, it will be a thing of, oh, she has tried 10 times. We have noted her. I'm sure it's okay for her to try. But if you haven't tried 10 times, you tried only 1 time, it's enough for them to say, okay, we're not sure what she can do. So maybe do what you have to do, and you might just get that chance. Okonjo has broken that barrier, so every other person can.
Fantastic stuff. Now, so there's a major problem where, it looks like women also encourage, I don't know if it's unwittingly or unknowingly, but they also encourage the patriarchal system. And, we're trying to fight these things. You just give a fantastic example with the Okonjo Iweala. She's done this. You have the Vice President of America, Kamala Harris, who's also done amazing stuff. If you look at her stereotypes and everything else. However, there are a lot of women who say, now this is what the woman is supposed to be doing. This is her place. This is your place. And these are the things that they feed little girls right from when they're young up until when they're old. And even in workplaces and the church, in political spaces, there's this thing where a lot of women who should know better are encouraging these, patriarchal systems. So how do we combat that? Because this is a big fight this is a big problem that mars the fight against, what we're fighting against, and the, discrimination and gender bias and stuff. So how do we combat this? Because it's major.
So I would say there's one thing they call environmental recognition. That's what I will say. Maybe that's not what it's generally termed as, but that's understanding the environment at the time.
Okay.
So that in the home, there's the home. That in the office, there's the office. In church, there's the church. I think like a lot of people have generalized a lot of things. Also, I'm in church. The pastor is a man, and then the minister is a man. Let me just stay as the usher.
Exactly. Yeah.
That type of thing. It will still boil down to one thing: who says you can't? Now, when I said environmental recognition, let's look at the home. I'm sorry, maybe I may not share the general view of some people, but I would say that if in the office, the effort I put in the home and in church or in an organization, whatever it is, a bank, a church, wherever, might not be as much effort as I'll put in the home, because I might just say, okay, I recognize the fact that it's a home. It's like a pyramid, and when one thing is out, everything comes falling down. There's like a tree with the branches and the leaves, because it's the home. Things have to fall in place. But I might not put as much effort in the church. So I would rather climb on blocks in the church, in the office, because I want to be seen. I mean, you being a pastor is not by your gender. It's probably by your knowledge of the Bible, right. Your what they call it, your theological understanding of the yes, and that is what makes a pastor, how well you can preach the word of God for people to understand. So I mean, if you can know that, why can't I know that? So that's what I think. I hope I've been able to touch that. Not to go further and upset people, but
exactly. I like to ask the question. Rachel knows me. I like to touch on those sensitive things, because the truth is, I know that we have a culture. I noticed that we have a culture of dwelling on sentiment and leaving the real issues. And then for how long? That's why we're still here. I mentioned some of the rituals, man. I said I think it's ridiculous that we're having certain conversations in 2021. Like, really, why is still this a problem, an issue? These are things that, you know, we should already have been able to deal with. So so I like that. But you did good to that. You did justice to that.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's talk a bit about support systems, because honestly, I feel like women cannot do without support systems. You have your family to deal with. You have work to deal with. You have to also deal with society. That is a whole lot of work as well. So you need a lot of support system, support networks to manage your job and the home and all of that. So work-life balance is not just a woman's thing. It's a man's thing, because at the end of the day, taking care of the home and making the workplace work for the woman is also the man's responsibility. So what's your take on, you know, work-life balance for women?
Okay, so work-life balance for women. The first thing I'll touch on is time management. And the time management and what if. You know, so when I say time management, what if, now you're a wife, you have kids, you know, you have a husband, you have your job. Now, if you're throwing tantrums as to, I have a lot I'm doing, why aren't you supporting me? What if there was no husband? You know, what would you do?
Right.
So, firstly, you need to attack the angle of time management. Picture as though there's no husband. So if there's no husband, what are the things you do? Now, good thing you have a husband, you know. And this just boils down, it might not be what we're talking about, it just boils down to the courtship side of when people meet and you're courting. You need to be particular about these things. How supportive is your partner? You know, how well are you going for someone who is ready to say, you know what, go, you have this meeting at 6, don't worry, go, I'll pick the kids from school. Because they are kids. I know that not a lot of guys who will be like, I'm busy, we're both busy, let's get the nanny. Oh well, if that's a way to find your balance in the family, good for you. But if there's no nanny, it has to work out somehow. So support system is really good. Having a partner who knows that, okay, you're doing this and I'm going to do this for you just to fill the gap, and you are also ready to do it when it comes to his own turn. So it's not just the guy doing it for you. When the guy too is busy and can't pick the kids up, don't throw tantrums because one time out of 10 he can't do it. You know, so it's just that understanding that you build amongst partners. Even when you have friends, you have business partners, understanding, consideration, all those things make it easier. So, yeah.
Right. All right. So, I mean, we still, in as much as we have women who want to be up there, who are up there, we still have people who, even though they are doing so well, you see women doing so well in the workplace, they are in a level where they can attain the height, the apex of the organization. But they still feel incapable inside of them. And there are others who would not even make any move at all because they feel like, you know what, I cannot do this, I am not worth it, I'm not worthy, because there are better women out there.
Yeah.
You know, you have to deal with women like you as well, and men as well. So they feel like there are better women out there and they are meant to deal with, so I cannot do this. So what kind of permissions do you think a woman needs? You know, or you need to give yourself in order to become what you want to be. Everyone has ambitions. Some of us are just, you know, out there with our ambitions. Some do not even talk about it because we can't do it. So what kind of permission do you think a woman needs to give herself to be able to just take that one step and go out there and do it, get it done?
First of all, permit yourself. Let's start from you. So when you're that person where you're already telling yourself, I can't. The way the mind works with the body, soul, and every part of the body, like everything. So the moment you tell yourself, I can't, it's like a link. Every part of your body tells, I can't. So even when you're trying, your effort is not going to be as productive because your mental state has produced the fact that you can't. So you need to, first of all, tell yourself that, okay, I'm going to try and do this thing. Now, other questions you want to ask: who are your advisors? So where are you taking advice from? You know, you're in the financial sector. You feel incapable. Do you have friends that are doing well in that field? Do you have people you want to reach out to say, I see you're doing amazingly well at your financial whatever. How can, what do I do? Who do you reach out to for help? Are you proud? You're like, let me just stay. If you do you reach out to people to ask what I can do? Do you read books? Do you do your research? How did this person do what courses did the person take? Self-development, basically. So you need to self-develop yourself. Or you need to develop yourself so that when you accumulate all these things, of course it won't be easy, it won't be difficult. Even when you're having that, I don't want to do, I can't do it, It's okay to feel can't sometimes, but what steps are you taking to can? Are you just living in that fact of I can't, or you're trying to see how you can? So yeah, it's all down to the person. I don't think it's an external thing; it's more internal than external.
Okay, so another question, right? We know that to for women to thrive, and for we to achieve a lot of things that we fight for. The men have a big role to play. We can't overemphasize that. Exactly. You need to create a safer space for women. You need a conducive environment. You need to give them a level playing ground. For example, another conversation we had this morning was a situation where it's almost so rampant that women can't walk down certain streets without being harassed. And I think it is so ridiculous. You see it online almost every day. Women say, oh, they go to the market and they're touched inappropriately. I'm like, are we serious? Like, this is a conversation. So, and that's just one thing. That's just one aspect. There's the aspect of the workspace where there's mad politics and it already disenfranchises the woman. So, and who are these guys? Who are the gatekeepers? Who are the guys calling the shots? These guys is the men. So, what are some of the things that you would outline and say men can do? Now, this is a huge one because it's not a leave them as they're fighting. And I give another example. When SARS was harassing a lot more men, for example, and killing a lot more men, nobody just sat down and said, I leave the men, let them be dying. Yes. And then when the fight started, there were a lot of women who were at the forefront of this battle. So that's what it should be. So imagine that if men were doing a lot more, there would have been a lot more progress. So maybe some people are just enjoying the patriarchy and enjoying it the way it is. So what are some of the things men can do to, make the world safer and make the environment more conducive for women?
Okay. So I would say that men should be ready to take that protective responsibility. Yeah. Stop. No, okay, so let me say it this way.
Okay.
No doubt that men are stronger. Let's not lie. And when I say stronger, I'm not saying mentally. I'm saying physically
stronger.
Men are stronger. Yeah. So even the strongest woman in the world, if she stands by the strongest man, if you weigh it, it's probably stronger. So in that sense, in that light, men should be able to take that step of coverage, that step of protection, that step of vouching. The same energy you want used to open the door for a girl because you're, I want to show her that I respect her, I'm the man. The same energy you should be able to put and say, okay, you know what, I know I do this thing so well, but I can say that Tolu also does it amazingly well. You want to try Tolu, and let's see what Tolu can do. If Tolu can't do it, I will step in. That's just stepping aside for Tolu to show. So even if Tolu might not be as good, you are better.
Give her the chance.
So give that chance to say, okay, let Tolu try. If she does, I can shadow her. I can work with her on it, and see how to get things on. So try to be that man that brings the woman in to make her as important as you already are.
True.
We have a lot of men these days that they're just like, oh, Funshaw, do it, and it's like, oh yes, I'm going to do it, and it's have you tried to say, okay, let's try to just be more, bring the woman into the picture. I feel if we have a lot of men do that in every angle, at home, in the workspace, imagine 100 men doing that for 100 women.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
you see that?
Just that equality word.
So in this case, when they report it, they're not saying that she took over. They're saying it like, it gave her a chance to fly, and she flew. So somehow they will not tell the woman's story without mentioning you, the man, who was very, 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 involved in her success.
That's a good way to look at it.
Fantastic stuff. It's quite
this morning we talked about how the success of a lot of women, is robbed on their men. A woman is successful today, they'd be like, oh, she has a very supportive husband, oh, he does this and he does that. So at the end of the day, both parties, benefit from the success of the woman, even the family. So great stuff.
Great conversation. Absolutely amazing conversation. Guys, we have been talking to Omotunde Ibironke, who's a brand strategist and business development associate at Bella Nigeria, and she's an all-round good woman, as we can see.
Thank you.
And we're talking about navigating the business world as a woman. So many hurdles, so many challenges, so many stairs to still climb, but we will get there. And like she rightly just said, we have a great role to play as men. We need to do a lot more. We need to protect the women, be there for them, support them, give them opportunities, referrals, believe in them, and all that stuff. So
totally agree. So for the entire week, it's going to be about International Women's Day. We're going to be, flying the hashtag Choose to Challenge, because we want every single woman out there to think about how they can make this movement faster, how they can put it out there, and how things can eventually be better. Thank you once again for joining us on the show.
Thank you so much. All right, so real quick, the tips I was going to say. So this is by a guy called Lawal. Hardcore on Twitter. He just put out some very interesting tips that a lot of women find interesting, and they've gone viral. And I think that, hey, this is actually absolutely amazing. So he said, here are a few things that need to be normalized to make the world a better place for women, and in the grand scheme of things for men also. So guys, you need to pay attention to this.
Hear it.
So first he has on the list, normalize helping women without expecting sexual favors. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Normalize accepting that no means nothing else but no. Normalize creating a safe space for every woman who comes in contact with you. So you see, very key. Normalize keeping short instead of making inappropriate jokes when around women. Normalize refraining from branding women as aggressive or over ambitious for the same acts as you call confident and strong when a man does them. So you see, normalize giving women the full credit they deserve and publicly acknowledging their contributions. Now, real quick before I go on, shout out to Kiki Modi. She just put out something called Document Woman, and she was motivated by the fact that women don't get their credit for all the stuff that they do. So every time you want to revisit history, it has been rewritten. And then they erase all the contributions of the women, and they say, oh, this man did this in 19-something. But the women did a whole lot, probably even made that happen, but it's never there. So it's time to start documenting the achievements and the contributions of women. So this is really great. Normalize giving women full credit they deserve and publicly acknowledging the contributions. Normalize giving the girl child leadership roles from early ages and celebrate your daughter's efforts too, as much as you celebrate your son. Not, oh, you came first in Blue House, and then your girl did something amazing too, and you don't talk about it.
There's something,
so it's very key. Yeah.
Just to react to that. You know how in secondary school,
right?
The boy is always the prefect and the girl is the assistant prefect. Like a woman is never the prefect. That's how it starts. True. Don't you think?
True. It's either you have. And so what they now start doing is you have the head girl and the head boy, but when you have like the overall number one guy, it most likely always has to be a guy. So that's amazing stuff. And it says so while posting hashtags and praises for women, it's the easy road to follow on International Women's Day. As men, we must begin to make actionable changes that support gender equality in all aspects of our lives. And like our guest just said, hey, it would facilitate and fast track the whole process if we did a lot more. So we'll leave you with that, guys.
There are a lot of things we could go on and on and on and on with, but this entire week is fully packed, so do not miss out on any of it. And thank you so much for joining us on this one. It's been an amazing time with our guest on the show. We'll continue with the rest of the programming. Stay here.